$5 worth of quarters at the car wash. My first rallycross, a friend of mine invited me out. He was hosting his first rallycross in New Orleans, and he didn't have a suitable car, and I didn't have a suitable car either, but he called me up and said, "I'm renting a car. Do you want to co-drive?" I'm like, "Sure, absolutely." It turns out some other friends of mine who I raced with, Brett and Steve, they had rented a rental car too, so we were having this rental car rally face-off, and none of us had ever driven a rallycross before, SCCA RallyCross. So I was really excited about it. Go out there, it had been raining a couple of days. This was NOLA Motorsports Park. They were still developing it. This was before the autocross pad had been paved, so we had a large section. There was plenty of equipment, heavy equipment there to smooth everything out, but it was that thick Louisiana mud. We had a Chevy Aveo, very sporty Chevy Aveo rental car, and the other guys had rented a Chevy Cavalier, which had a lot more power, but I figured our lightweight might help us out in this. We started our runs, and rallycross is a little different from autocross. Large open field, you'll have a autocross style course. It's timed like an autocross, unlike autocross, because the conditions change through the day because of the racing line will change. It's not the best run. You don't record your best of 5 runs or best of 4 runs. It's all of your runs added up continuously. So it's your total time. So if you hit a cone that adds 2 seconds, it adds to your overall time completely. So it can be very difficult to be consistent. The track conditions change continuously, and that's kind of the point of not picking your best run, because otherwise everyone's best run would be first run in the morning before the course gets torn up. It can be very challenging to be consistent, and sometimes you're just reading things as you're going, and the surfaces change continuously. I had the biggest grin on my face when I came back after one run, after throwing literally chunks of mud the size of a football off to the side. That actually, is part of your strategy of lateral acceleration, is to take chunks of mud and throw it in the opposite direction. So we had a blast, and we would just spin the tires the entire way. Even a 90 horsepower Chevy Aveo makes a fine rallycross car, especially when it's not your car. So we drove it like it was a rental car and caked so much mud up into the wheel wells that we had to stop and dig out in order for the suspension to work. And digging 6, 10-inch deep ruts throughout the course with it. The other team wound up with so much mud in there, it took them, I believe, $5 worth of quarters at the car wash in order to get it clean enough to return. There was mud caked up in the brakes. The cooling fan wouldn't work anymore because we just threw so much mud in it. So there's nothing like using a rental car as a race car, and especially in a rallycross. Whole lot of fun. Highly recommended. Rallycross with a rental car is very cheap. I paid for half the rental car. We had a day rental, so but rallycross is $30 to $50 at a local SCCA event. Pretty cheap, and if it's not your car, it's even better.